Hello and welcome to Breaking Bread with Rivaj Maharaj, where nothing is off the table. For today's episode, I want to talk about the breaking news coming in from Israel, where the IDF says it has eliminated Intelligence Minister Khatib, who had a key role in the regime's repression and terrorist activities. So, without further ado, let's get into it. There's breaking news coming out of Israel in the last few minutes where the defense minister Israel Katz has announced that the IDF also confirms that Iran's intelligence minister Esmail Khatib was killed in an airstrike in Iran overnight.
Israel has claimed another high-profile elimination in its ongoing campaign against Iran. Israel's defense minister Israel Katz says Iran's intelligence minister Esmail Khatib has been killed in an overnight airstrike in Tehran. That's the latest story that's breaking as far as the war in Iran is concerned. Israel's defense minister Israel Katz saying that the strikes are intensifying. Also saying, and I quote here, significant surprises are expected as Israel expands its operations against Iran and its allies, including the Hezbollah in Lebanon. That's the latest confirmation coming in from Israel's defense minister Israel Katz that Esmail Khatib, Iran's intelligence minister, has now been killed. That is the latest claim by Israel in an overnight strike in Tehran. Israel's defense minister Israel Katz also revealing that he and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have authorized the Israeli military to target any senior Iranian figure without requiring additional approval, signaling a further escalation in Israel's strategy. The development coming amidst a broader campaign targeting Iran's top leadership, raising concerns about a widening and more aggressive phase of the conflict in the region.
Now, the article goes on further to say that Khatib, who had served as intelligence minister since 2021, was targeted by Israeli Air Force fighter jets in the capital Tehran. The military says the intelligence ministry is the Iranian terrorist regime's primary intelligence organization, which also played a key role in supporting the regime's repression and terrorist activities. The ministry possesses advanced intelligence capabilities, overseeing surveillance, espionage, and execution of covert operations worldwide, particularly against the state of Israel and Iranian citizens, the IDF says. As intelligence minister, the IDF says Khatib played a significant role during the recent protests throughout Iran, both with regards to the arrest and killing of protesters as well as shaping the regime's intelligence assessment. And during protests in 2022 and 2023 over the killing of Mahsa Amini. The IDF says Khatib also led the ministry's terror activities against Israeli and American targets around the world, as well as activities directed against targets within Israel during the current war. Now, I've attached this article, and of course, news is continuing to filter out regarding this operation. But there's something important that I would like to discuss or highlight here. The Israelis continuously take out top military officials within the Iranian regime. And as new ones are appointed, they are also put directly into harm's way and are 9 out of 10 times taken out. I've said this before. This suggests that there is high-level intelligence being filtered out from Iran to the IDF, to Mossad. And I believe firmly that Mossad have got high-level intelligence molds within the Iranian regime. You know, the number of top-level Iranian fatalities, leaders' fatality, the fatalities is ludicrous. The Iranians are scrambling to try to keep this regime alive just by having personnel in place. And what this does, as I mentioned before, is it begins to weaken the regime from within. Because as these top leadership is being taken out, they're being supplanted with people in the second, third, and fourth rungs of the ladder. And the further down the ladder you go in terms of replacement, the less effective these people are in terms of experience, in terms of the loyalty factor. And this then breeds a situation where challenges to the authority become more open and more in your face. And this is why I say the autonomous structure, the decentralized structure of Iranian attacks at present, because the Iranians figured that should Khamenei be taken out, they will go to a decentralized model. And that may work in the normal scheme of things. But as your leadership is being decimated, that decentralizing of power, in my opinion, creates adverse conditions to those that you envisaged when you implemented this model. And that is to say that as this decentralized model takes place, commanders on the ground are being given more and more autonomy to make decisions, independent decisions. And this means that reining them in later and trying to get them to work as a cohesive body is not going to work. You may find one commander may be staunch Shia, another may be a Sunni, another may be a Kurd, or maybe a Baloch, or they may come from different tribes, or they may come from different religious backgrounds. You don't know their political affiliation. You don't know the family infightings between the regimes. You don't know from, one may be seen as a bit more privileged than the other. Old scores to be settled, just in normal day-to-day life, there may be people who have differences of opinion, who hate each other just because it's sometimes you step into a room and there's somebody in that room that you can identify with and think, I just don't know what it is, but this person creeps me out. I don't like this person. And all these idiosyncrasies begin to come into play. And this is what I'm saying. The less you have a cohesive leader, a uniting force to band all these people together. These are all alpha males. These are people that are put in harm's way and making decisions that they deem fit and necessary. And it is inevitable that these decisions will conflict. It will cause conflict. You don't have a group of autonomous machines that are making decisions for a common cause. You have human beings. And hubris begins to set in. Pride and ego begins to set in. And this, I fear, is going to be the downfall of the Iranian regime. I think the Israelis and the Americans know this full well. They've gone in, they've understood after regrouping that taking out the Ayatollah is not simply going to achieve the aims. They now understand the policies put in place should the Ayatollah have been removed. And they're now actively targeting it. It's a bit like when the Russians went into Ukraine and initially the Ukrainians pushed back. The Russians readjusted, pivoted, and began their onslaught again. And this is what I suspect is happening in this conflict. The Israelis and the Americans have regrouped, and they now realize that propping up the regime was the IRGC and the Basij, and it is pivotal that they start taking out that leadership. Because once that leadership is decimated, you're going to have insurgency, you're going to have splinter groups forming, and this is going to pave way for the Kurds to go in and any other regional actors that wish to be involved. This is why I say it is a very dangerous situation for Iran, because Iran is going to fracture. You are going to have insurgency, you are going to have something bordering on a civil war that is going to be in there and is going to be active in that country for the next few years at least. Short of somebody going in. As I said before, Reza Pahlavi is not that person. I've mentioned it before in my video. You need somebody like this gentleman, Zaya Yunan. He's a businessman. He's made his billions. So he's not in it. He's not going to be somebody that's going to go in it to line his pockets. He's going to go in it to try and unite the people because he would want what is best for Iran. He's already made his money. So he's got nothing to prove to anybody. But he has a wealth of experience, a wealth of business experience, which is what is going to be required. Somebody that's going to be able to wheel and deal, make deals and look at the benefit for the Iranian people. And that cannot come from somebody that is inside, because whoever is inside had at some point had to have played a role in terms of propping up the regime. You need somebody that left a long time ago but has an affinity for the people, and somebody that is wealthy in their own right. taking in Pahlavi's son because he's the old Shah's son. He's going to milk it for every opportunity he can. And he's got no charisma. He's got no. He looks like a pushover. You throw him in a room with Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, uh, Xi Jinping, Modi, they'll eat him up alive. You need somebody that is going to go in there and be able to stand their ground, go toe to toe with the alpha leaders of the world, and still come out with something that is respectable for the Iranian people. And that is why I keep coming back to this man. There probably are other Iranian businessmen out there, I don't know. But for somebody that is not involved in politics, for somebody that has made his money independently, for somebody that is a son of Iran, I think that Mr. Yunan would be an ideal candidate, even if not to rule the country permanently, but to go in, stabilize things, and help usher in a democratic process of an interim, an election being held and a proper government coming in. But somebody to hold the reins in the interim, I don't think Pahlavi is the guy. I think Pahlavi is woefully incapable of handling whatever is to come on the political front. So the Israelis and the Americans are actively targeting the Iranian regime. There's no amount of surprises that pop up each day. The Iranians, by the way, are mounting a fantastic counter attack, but that is what you would expect of a regime that is backed into a corner and is fighting for its, is fighting an existential fight. So you wouldn't expect a capitulation. However, how much longer they can muster this, I don't know. But I think that between the United States and Israel, they are able to play a long game here. Are the Iranians capable of mounting that offensive over a longer period of time? I suspect the Americans and the Israelis are wearing down the Iranian regime, wearing down their resources, so that when the Kurds need to go in and any other groups need to go in, and when the public need to be given the confidence to rise up, they will be facing a far weakened Iranian regime that is on the verge of capitulation. So I want to thank you for spending time with us. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, as it helps us with the algorithm and it helps our channel to grow.